Hello everyone and welcome to the Haunters Playground, the place where people who love everything spooky and scary come to play. I'm your host, Christopher Abram. On today's episode, we're going to speak with the Sci-Fi Channel's contestant from Season 2, Heather Henry, and we're going to go over makeup. And then, we're going to cover our unpaid intern, Josh, with makeup and see if he's allergic to it.
I am allergic to it. I told you 10 times. Unpaid? What do you mean unpaid? I thought I was supposed to get paid.
No, I distinctly remember, and I quote, "You'll get exactly what you deserve." Expressly written out by this contract that you signed.
I had a bad feeling about working with you, but I did it anyway.
Good judgment, bad instinct. And that brings us to this week's playground moment. If it looks like a bad idea, it probably is. Go get ready for your makeup. So while Josh goes and gets his EpiPen ready, we're going to go and visit with Heather Henry and see what she's been up to.
Hi, my name's Heather Henry. I was on Face Off Season 2. Since Face Off, I worked on Dallas as an effects artist. I've done some low-budget films, some big-budget films. Started my own company doing effects for haunted houses as well. So that's what I've been doing with my time.
So what is it that you do for haunted houses?
We've made a couple of corpses for a haunt in Oklahoma. That's kind of our bit at the moment, is we make a lot of silicone bodies and body parts and severed heads and limbs, and sometimes I'll make masks. Just kind of do a little bit of everything.
So what would be the difference between haunted house makeup effects and like doing film effects?
We really try to make really durable, comfortable pieces for a haunted house versus a film where it might just be one take and it just has to look good for that one day or that 1 week. But for a haunted house, you want for somebody to be able to have it for as long as they need it, for years indefinitely. So I try to make durable, comfortable, washable pieces for haunted houses.
So how do the makeup effects differ? I mean, you obviously, I guess, have to make it more bulletproof for a haunted house and not so much so for a movie.
I know that for a lot of, for most people when they do haunted house makeup, it's more theater makeup, but our angle is trying to make it more realistic and film camera ready. So while most people will go the route of a more theatrical makeup, it just hurts my soul to do something that looks silly to me. So I always have to go for realism instead. But still, you have to punch it up a little bit more since you're in the dark.
So which makeup effects do you prefer more, doing haunted house or doing movie?
I really like both. I like being able to do both as well. It kind of mixes it up a little bit. I don't know. I like them both.
How are haunted house effects and movie effects, how are they similar and yet how are they different?
Well, it seems to me that haunted houses and movie making are so similar, it's hard to find differences. I guess the biggest difference is that there's no camera crew, sound guys following you. I guess that's really the only difference. The art direction's there, the makeup's there, the actors are there, but you're kind of walking through the movie versus, seeing it through the eyes of a camera. So I guess that's really the only difference that I can think of.
I have to ask you, a lot of people ask me this because I make horror movies and I used to, design and build haunted houses. So do you have nightmares or do you have inspirational dreams?
I love being scared. That's probably why I love haunted houses and scary movies, but I'm really hard pressed to find something that scares me. And usually if I have a nightmare, it's not a fun nightmare. It's like my friend died or my mother died or something horrible that's not inspirational or fun or really even scary at all. So, but if the really rare occasions that have like a truly terrifying, like running through the woods or some crazy dream, no, I relish those. Those are amazing. I don't really ever remember them though. I wish I had nightmares.
What would you say does inspire you? How do you get inspired?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Especially when I was on Face Off, my biggest fear was that creativity wouldn't come to me when I needed it. And I was surprised that being under pressure actually made me more creative. So it just kind of, somebody needs to set a certain amount of parameters, and then somehow you can make something out of it. Sometimes when there's when there's no parameters at all, that's when I start to have a harder time thinking of a new character. But as far as inspiration, I look for it everywhere, and watch a lot of nature shows. I watched a show called, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. I was watching Weird and Wild last night, and I was like, this would make a great movie. There's so many horrible things in the world. There's like a bug that gets into an animal and then eats the tongue away of an animal and then replaces it and becomes the tongue. And they were like, actually, the animal does a pretty good job of being a tongue, but it eats while it's as the animal's tongue. And I was like, that's so creepy, and that actually happens. So a lot of nature videos, a lot of art by other artists, just all sorts of stuff, reading books, so you can kind of get that visual without having the, visual reference.
So how long have you been doing this? Because I know we've known each other for about 9 or 10 years, and you worked on my second movie, After Sundown.
I guess I've been doing makeup for about 9 years now, which is exciting. And then I went to school about 8 years ago for it.
You basically started learning makeup like right before you came on to do After Sundown with me. And then while we were shooting, you left. We kind of went into hiatus because of different reasons, and then when we got back to shooting and doing some reshoots, you came in again and kind of helped us finish off the makeup. So wow, you've been doing this I guess professionally for a while now. So what can people do, let's say they don't have a lot of money, or they're just way too busy to drop everything and go off to school and everything. How can they get into doing makeup effects? How can they learn it on a low budget or limited time?
These days it's so easy to learn about makeup effects. I went to school because I didn't really know what else to do at the time, but now there's so many videos available online for free that you can just go and so many instructional videos, and just there's everything available online that I don't know why anybody would go to school now, unless they just need that structure, which is nice too. But if you really want to do it, you could just look online, and they'll show you everything from low budget ways to do things to the things that everybody in Hollywood is doing right now. So to learn it all for free.
So I'm guilty of this, and a lot of my friends are too. We go to the big box stores and the Halloween retail outlets, and after the season's over and we clean house, we buy up all the makeup stuff that we can. Is that makeup good? I mean, is it okay to use, or is it just so bad that we're basically wasting our money even if we are getting it like 90% off?
Yeah, I mean, you can use anything. I tend to stick to more alcohol-based makeups, but even with cream-based makeups, and like even the kinds that you find in big mega stores after Halloween sales for like $1 for a kit of them, you could still use those, and they'll still work. You just have to know your colors and know how to use them. You could pretty much use anything.
So would you say a person really needs to know animatronics to get into the makeup effects world?
Oh gosh, animatronics is definitely a specialized skill. You don't have to know that at all to be in this industry. I've never even used my animatronic skills ever on a shoot. That's a whole different class of people, and that's the best of the best that are out there in Hollywood doing their thing, making animatronics. And that's all that they do. So as a makeup artist, hasn't been all that useful. I like that I know it, but I don't ever get to use it. And it's really expensive just to play around with it. It's an expensive hobby. So
I guess animatronics are pretty much, that's pretty big in the haunted house industry, but not as much because of CGI and stuff for the movies. Well, Awesome, Heather. It was great seeing you again. Good catching up. And hopefully, we'll be interviewing you some more. Maybe be able to go out on a movie location or something when you got that coming up. But right now, we're going back to our studio where we have Josh getting ready to put on makeup. And we're going to see, is he really allergic to makeup?
We are back here at the studios, and we've got Josh in one of our makeup chairs. Unfortunately, it turns out that Josh is extremely allergic to makeup. If he only would have said something, we wouldn't have been testing. But that does bring us to one of those points. When you are going to apply makeup to someone, you do want to check and see if they are allergic to it. You can dab it on the back of their hand or whatever, just to get a little sample to see if they have any allergic reactions to it. I personally am allergic to latex makeup. So if I have prosthetics put on me, then they need to be silicone based. Here is one of the packs that I bought after the season last year. Now, I'm not exactly sure where all you can get one of these packs. I happened to get this one at Kroger. I think it was originally marked at like $8 or $9. But it was one of those 90% off sales. So I ended up getting this for like 75, 80 cents and got a whole bunch of them, in fact. But as you can see, it's a complete color palette. You also have like one of your hard sponge brushes for doing like road rash. Then you have your grease pencils. These are oil grease-based makeups, which help with people who aren't too familiar with the makeups. This will stay on a little better as long as you throw powder on it. You need just regular baby powder, talcum powder, to help the makeup set in. That way it doesn't smear everywhere and it won't just fade away, because it will slowly get absorbed into your skin. But in our next episode, we will cover applying makeup, and we will do it both kind of looking at the theatrical way, which is like haunted house style, versus the movie style way of making makeup. And there's some subtle differences, not big ones, but we'll look at it from both standpoints. Since I have done haunted houses and movies, I'll be able to show you the differences that I make, and we'll have that in next week's episode. So I want to thank you all for coming to the Haunters Playground, where we're always here to just have fun. See you next time.